This is my homemade like hoof pack for thrush or white line. It is bentonite clay, zinc oxide ointment, apple cider vinegar, tea tree oil, peppermint oil. I can't remember what else, but the stuff works. I put it in their feet. This is gonna sound weird, but I think the biggest place I have seen signs of a lifestyle change for the horses is their feet. You know, their weight's been great, their personalities have been great, but their feet, I wouldn't say they're bad, but I've just noticed, how do I put it? I wouldn't say that their feet are bad per se. I've just noticed like a shift in quality or condition of their feet. Like for example, Tucker has always had really good feet, although he has really narrow feet. He's dealing with some white line. And then Rock's feet look great for now. I've been very cautious in treating them and cleaning them. And I have been just treating them for white line anyway, just because usually if one horse gets it, another horse will get it. If they're on the same land and you're using the same tools. So that's really the change. I think it's like a diet thing. It's also like they're not out in a pasture all the time moving around. So it's a circulation thing. And so it's just something I have to stay on top of and be very cautious about. Yes. So I did catch Tucker's white line pretty quick, but I've just been really adamant about treating it and also very just cautious. So what I got now is I have his hoof boots on and his feet got cleaned before I put some tea tree oil in them so that they could air out. And then the boots keep dirt from getting in his feet. And so it just lets the hoof air out. The thing is, the fungus that causes white line disease, it thrives with zero oxygen. And you know, horses' hooves are getting packed constantly with dirt, so it's hard for oxygen to get into the foot. So I put the hoof boots on to allow for oxygen in the foot. And then I'll put them on the back the other half of the day, and so that the back hooves can get oxygen and just stay open rather than getting clogged up with dirt. So I'm trying something a little different today. I got Ruach on my left, which he has ponied on the left before. We just have been very bad about doing that regularly, so we'll see how he does. But another challenge is we are riding and it is officially hunting season in America, and there are a lot of hunters out here. We ran into 3 yesterday, and then some of the trails are closed off specifically for certain hunts, and so we have to stay on the designated trails. So we got our high visibility vests on and we're ready to go. One thing I have noticed, we are in Alabama now. Finally a state I actually haven't ever been to before. So this is my first time experiencing Alabama. Colin is from Alabama. So, you know, it's like visiting his childhood for him because his family moved away and all that. But one thing I've noticed as we've gotten further south is that, I mean, there are some fall colors here, you can probably see, but it's still definitely very green and warm. I think this year in general has been like very warm, unusually warm. So it's like high 70s here every day, still very much green, which is nice because, man, I do not like the winter, so it's just nice avoiding it altogether. And then this trail we haven't gone on yet, so our first time riding this trail, we'll see how it goes. The trails here are very fun, but also very challenging. The few we've done, they've been just like steep climbs, so they're hard for Colin, they're hard on the horses, and then they're just really some tricky obstacles. Like a lot of the trails have been washed out, and so you'll have to climb around like the washout ditches and stuff. But overall, I mean, I'm pleasantly surprised. We're in the Talladega National Forest, and I'm like, why haven't I heard of this before? Because I just feel like this is such good horse trail riding. All right. Another nice thing is this campground is $6 a night. And so, you know, we're only spending $42 a week on this campground, saving good money, which we've been trying to do. So it's just satisfying. It is all primitive, but like we definitely prepared. We got our new generator up. We stocked up on food. The closest town is like 40 minutes away. So this is like real primitive. Whoa. Look at that. That looks dangerous. One thing I have noticed about these woods is that there are some very sketchy, like, widowmakers. It's as if like the forest is either just old or I don't know, but we've seen a lot of trees just very precariously down. Hold on, boys. We heard a tree fall. Like, here's another one. Look at that. I'm even scared to just go under it. Did y'all see it? Colin, did you see this one? Oh, sketchy, sketchy. Go quickly. But the forest is also very cleared out, so you can easily see through the trees, which I like. Because, you know, the woods in Virginia and Tennessee and Kentucky, it's all very dense. But you can look up here at this hillside, and it's just very pretty. You can easily see through it. Hold on, narrow. Rock, don't you dare rush me. So last week we were staying at family's land, and it was nice because we got like a shower every day. We got to socialize. The horses just stayed in their electric fence. But I guess it was yesterday or the day before. Like, that was the longest pack-up day we've ever had, and it was just like so many things. It was just very tedious. So what had happened was we started packing up at like 6 a.m. Like, we got up and ran our errands. For some reason, well, we decided to roll our electric fence. Well, look at that. We decided to roll our electric fence back on the roll, and we didn't know how long that was going to take. Well, it took us like an hour. Good boys. Oh, Colin, this is going to be a climb. So, you know, of course, we put the horses on the trailer before we rolled up the electric fence. So they're on the trailer for an hour. Then, as we were pulling out of the neighborhood, I guess you'll call it, it was a very tight turn, and we ended up hitting a tree, just like side-swiping it. But we got stuck because if we kept going, the tree would rip off our ladder on our trailer. So Colin's uncle had to come and cut us loose. So that took, 30 minutes or so. So by the time we were done, the horses had been on the trailer an hour and a half longer than they needed to be. Tucker was right where they had to get the chainsaw to cut the tree branch outside of his window. So Tucker was not having a good day. So when we get to camp, and Tucker has this weird thing in the trailer where he likes to like jerk back when you go to get him out. So we always try to unclip him first. Unclip him and then go in and get him. But I was unloading them myself because Colin was doing something else. So I didn't do that. And of course, hindsight, I should have. So I went in to get him. I was right beside him. He stepped back and hit the end of his strap. And so then he starts fighting his strap, and he's like rearing up and tossing his head. Anyway, I was standing next to him. I don't think he knew I was there. He ends up squishing me up against the trailer wall. And of course I yell, I'm like, hey! So as soon as I yell, he stops, and he's just standing there like shaking because he's freaking out, but he also knows I'm in there now. But it was just annoying and stressful. And it's weird how different horses have different quirks like that. Like, Tucker is a very nice, quiet horse, But then he just does quirky things like that. Like, he's weird about the strap in the trailer. He's weird about standing still. That's another one. He has never really stood still. He doesn't like standing still. He'll always just kind of like wiggle around, shift his weight. So we've been practicing that. He's standing still now because he's pooping. Yes. So those are his biggest quirks. I'm going to start working with him on the standing still, because it's just something like, I don't know why I haven't ever addressed it really. You know, you just get busy and then you're like, oh, well, it's not that big of a deal. But then when you look back, you're like, well, it kind of is. So I need to work with him without Ruach, because I just feel like that's better for him. And when I try to work on things with him with Ruach, it's just more difficult. And I don't think Tucker really gets like the attention he needs when we have Ruach with us. So y'all can see here, like the forest is pretty clear. You can easily see through the trees. I was telling Colin, I'm like, man, I feel like I'm in Australia. Even though, you know, I've never been to Australia. I don't know what it looks like. But to me, this is what it looks like. The bush. So, if you want to experience the beauty of Australia and the big bugs that go with it, come to Alabama. It's probably cheaper than flying across the world. Oy. All right, single file, boys. Oh my gosh. No, no. Don't kick him. Oh, Tucker, stop it. Good job, good job. Here's some other. I'm like, did these trees get burned or is this a fungus? I think it's more of like a fungus. But look, it's everywhere. You got that stump right there. Then you got the black at the base of the tree trunks. You do not run down hills, Ruach. Alright, a steep pine needly hill. It's gonna be slippery. Come on. Good job, guys. I don't know, this is steep. Hey, back up. I don't know how people are driving out on these roads, because they are steep. Like, I wouldn't drive a car up that. It has pine needles everywhere. Right. I'm gonna try and find a clearing that opens up to the view, because we just haven't had one, but we know that we're up high because we can see the mountain through the trees. I don't know where he went. Colin? Come on. Single file, boys. It opens up. Oh. Yeah, I wish there was a view, but...
We had that camera on a stick, I could probably...
Yeah, probably. Oh, man, that was a ride.
Oh, yeah. The hardest part for me is going back, probably.
Well, you're going to have all downhill.
I gotta go up that hill again.
We're up on the ridge.
But
Here.
once we get to the road, it's uphill.
Oh, Colin, be careful. All right, single file. All right. So no view, unfortunately. Hey, I still think we could find one. We just have to get to the right place. Oy. Oh. Looks like we're back to single file. Oh my gosh, careful. Make room for him, Tucker. Run him off the trail. Careful, boys. This is slick. Careful. Good. Oh my gosh. See, I'm on a horse, so I don't get... Oh, crap. Ah. I don't get, like, torn up by thorns, but Colin definitely does. He's down low. Oh shoot, that's thorny. Oh gosh! Ah. Ow, ow. I got a little tidbit of history to share. So, me personally, I like to get to the bottom of things when it comes to history. And I know, like, our modern take on history isn't usually what it seems on either side. You know, you gotta kind of question everything. So, I'm from Virginia, which is considered in the South. But I feel like Virginia... It's different than the rest of the South. I think we have like a lot of northern transplants. You know, we're close to DC. So it's a little bit different than other places in the South. But as a history buff, you know, I keep in mind what I read about history, what I learned in school, and then I like to search it out and study it. So I was always taught that the Civil War was about slavery. I may be getting into a really controversial topic here. You know, the Civil War was about slavery, which I honestly believe that it was. But then, being in the South here and talking to people in the South, you know, I love to ask questions, love to see what people think about it down here. The Southerners do not view it like that at all. You know, they view it as the war of northern aggression, is what I've heard. So, it just presents a very fascinating moral dilemma. Because, in my mind, you know, the North wanted to start working on banning slavery and outlawing slavery. The South saw slavery more as a states' rights problem. Mind you, I also think that there's a lot more people who are in the South that did not support slavery and did not support secession. But they, you know, when you're just one person, you feel like a pawn in the government's games, pretty much. So a lot of Southerners didn't support seceding from the Union. They didn't support slavery, but they kind of just went along with it because their state, their state did. So when the Southerners attacked the Fort Sumter, which was a federal fort, and the federal government sent troops down into the South, to them, it appears as if the government is invading their land. So to Southerners, it's as if they're fighting basically a revolution against an overreaching federal government. To the Union, to the North, in their minds, they are fighting a war to, how do I say that? To the Union, they're fighting a war to free the slaves and to enforce, basic human rights. So it's a very interesting dilemma because both sides are so adamant on their side and they see the other side as evil, but in reality, I feel like there was so much in that war that was just either a misunderstanding or it was the war effort being sold differently to the people. I don't support slavery at all. There was also a lot of Southerners who did not. Like, you can go into history and find, like, there were a lot of Union units within the Confederacy, and it was just full of men who didn't support the Confederacy and they wanted to stay with the Union. There's some in Alabama, I think there's some in Tennessee. But it kind of just, when you see that they were fighting for different reasons, the North was fighting to enforce basic human rights, and then the South was fighting because they thought the government was overreaching and invading their land. It shows you why there is such confusion, and also why there is such a mean spirit about it, because the sides still don't understand each other. Even though we're 100 or so years into the future, the sides still don't understand why the other side fought. And so a lot of people in the North just think the South is evil because they wanted slavery, that they're racist. People in the South think that the North and the federal government's evil because they encroached on their land. So I just found that an interesting bit of history that I would share on this channel. Comment down below what you think, what you were taught.
There are a bunch of deer out, except for I've been scaring them out like crazy.
Okay. Good boys. Speaking of which, should I say, man, what about that election? Just kidding. I try to make it a goal not to talk politics on my channel, mainly because people just want peace and quiet from politics. I mean, we've heard about it for the last 4 years. It has been so intense. So it's like, just let me experience life without politics. And I'm a very political person. I mean, I'm taking economics in school. I would like to go to law school simply for the reason of getting involved in the political process. But I completely understand, sometimes you want to be free from it. So if there's one thing I will say there's definitely hope for America, because both sides were very, very concerned about protecting the democracy and, making sure we would still have our democratic rights. So both sides were pretty bipartisan on that, even though they both had different meanings to that when they spoke of it. But it shows that most people do share that same belief, that okay, protecting democracy is important. Protecting the rights that Americans have are important. Now, one thing I will say, one thing that irks me, and both sides use this phrase, and so I'm not taking one side or another. We are not a democracy, and we shouldn't try to be a democracy. We are a republic, and that's a very important distinction that Americans need to keep in mind. And I think the use of democracy is a little misleading to Americans, and it kind of gives them it makes them have wrong thoughts on what the country should be like. So a democracy is like what you had in ancient Greece and Rome, where everyone had a voice. The majority would rule. So if the majority wanted something, the majority would get it. There wasn't like a separation of branches. It was just the majority. But the great thing about America is it's set up to protect the minority. And that's what a republic does. Hey, come on. Ruat, come on. Go on. A republic is what you would call a representative democracy, which basically means instead of every single person having, a direct say in the government, you have a say in the government through your representative. And so not only does this make the minority heard as well, but it also gives a protection against mob rule, because you can have a mob and you can have a majority, but the majority could still be wrong. And so you want to have a situation where the minority are still protected, and that's what a republic does. So we have to be very careful about how we use the term democracy. Another thing that's different with the republic is that the republic has a separation of powers. Like, you have different branches, and it's all designed to keep the government at check. At check? In check. I don't think I trust any tree in this forest. That's a fun little downhill. All right, I'm ready to be getting back. I'm sure y'all are too. Now, Rocky boys, be careful. There's another massive tree, like, just leaning over. You'll see it. Oh my god. The nice thing is, so we're now over 2 months into this new lifestyle, traveling with horses and camping. Oh my gosh, that's a giant, oh shoot, that was a giant spider web. Anyway, we're finally finding our rhythm, I feel like. Like, things just aren't as hard as they used to be. In the beginning, it felt like everything was hard, everything was a crisis. But now it's like, okay, well, things will work themselves out. So that's nice. I'm excited to get to Florida. I've always thought I'd really like Florida. I'm excited to get out west. We still got a little ways before we can go that way, but I'm excited to experience it. I think it will just be very different than anything I've experienced before. I'm not excited for getting out to the west. Like, I saw something where it was like from Florida to Arizona, it's 30 hours. And I'm like, oh my gosh. How are we even gonna do that with horses? And like, how long is it gonna take us? How many days? Should I do it and just do like 3-hour travel days? you know, but that would take us like a lot longer compared to just knocking it out and just driving 3 days and doing all the travel. So it's just working out those things. I'm excited to see parts of the country I haven't seen before. Like I said, we're in Alabama. I haven't never been here. It's a pleasant surprise. Like, I didn't think Alabama had mountains, but it's very mountainous here. I've been out west. I haven't been to like Montana, Wyoming, Idaho. I haven't been to Oregon, which we've made that like our furthest west destination. We want to go to Nehalem Bay, if I said that correctly. And that's like as west as you can get. So I'm excited for that. The horses have been doing great. They're already like seasoned. Oh, I say that and he trips on his face. They already seem seasoned trail pros. Like I think people are surprised when they realize the type of trails we're doing, especially with Ruach and bringing him along. Like, we don't do long trails. Like, we're not gonna ride like 15 miles in one day yet because he's only 2. But he's been on some pretty challenging rides. And so I'm just excited for them to continue to get better. And they both are getting better. Like, at the beginning of this trip, dealing with Ruach was such a big pain because he didn't quite know how to pony yet. So he was always like pushing the limits, biting, you know, running ahead of us, pulling on my arm. But now, like, the majority of the trail ride, he just goes along with us and I'm not really doing any work. He's just coming along. One thing I wish Ruach did have, I wish he had more of like the herd mentality. Like, for example, we've been in, oh, that's a log. We've been in a few situations where the trails were just so bad, I had to get off of Tucker and lead Ruach and then just have Tucker follow us. And Tucker did that no problem. Hold on, we got this really steep hill to go up. You know, he just went right behind us, stayed with us, stopped when we stopped, didn't ever try to get away. Hey, don't bite him. Ruach, on the other hand, does not have herd mentality. Like, if I let him go, he would just take off. So, I wish I could just, like, free ride him, where it's like I'm on Tucker, and Ruach could just come along. Oh my gosh, my saddle. That was very steep. But I just don't think that's gonna happen. And the thing is, we haven't really been in such a rural place to try it. I mean, I could actually probably try it here. This is the most rural we've been. But I don't know if I should try it. Because, yeah, we have seen him run off before, have we not? Colin, should I try letting Ruach go and having him follow us?
No.
But he's tired now.
No, do not.
And the thing is, with hunters out, it's probably just not a good idea in general. All right, we got a steep hill here. Whoop. All right, we have a road here. Yep, I wonder how far back it is on this thing. He's back there, he's tired. Tired, buddy? He said, Mom, I legitimately just climbed a mountain. Yeah, that was a pretty rough ride, I'll say that. I think there's deer down there. No one spook. It's all okay. And we passed Colin. Maybe. This is pretty darn steep. Oh my gosh. This is very steep. Come on, Rue. Rock's tired. Oh, hey, come on. We'll walk. Rock's funny. He just stops when he's done. This is POV of Colin going up the hill. This is a massive hill. Look at him go. Look at those calves. Come on, Rue. I know you're tired. We're almost to the top. Come on. You'll get hosed off when you get back. Go, Colin, go. You're almost there. I think this is the top. Rock needs to be cheered on too, because he's about to quit. Come on, Rue. Ah, he quit. You just need to stand there for a minute. Are you tired? This is what work is like, bud. No, don't eat rocks though. This is what work is like. Okay, I have one treat left. I'll give it to you, but you don't have any more. Don't bite me. Stop it. All right, come on. All right, we made it to the top. You still alive? I think Rock got a second wind. You think you got a second wind? When?
Going up that hill. When we ran on the bend and I saw that it kept going.
Which way do we go? We keep going straight. Oh my gosh, I swear that this ride back to the camp is longer than the actual trail we did.
Maybe about the same.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, a little bit shorter maybe. More direct. Ready?
Yeah, I guess.
This is the fun part.
All right, we're back to the paved road. I think the reason that trail is so tiring, it's not that long. At most, I'd say 4 miles. But it's the fact that, like, I think you're climbing 2 mountains. And so, even when we came down one mountain, we still had to go up another one. Just exhausting. See, this to me looks like Australia. So, if anyone has ever been to Australia, or if any of my followers are from Australia, let me know if I'm being ridiculous, or if this does really look like Australia. There's a nice tiny log I want to jump down here to end this ride. We're back. Rock. See if Rock can jump. Yeah? Oh my gosh, guys, get it together. That was stupid, probably. Come here. Come here. Wait, Colin, let me see if he'll come back. Come on. I got a treat. There's no one here, so I don't mind leaving him off. Ruak! Come on. Why the hell I couldn't get him?
Do you want me to do anything?
I can get him. At least he jumped it, right? Maybe he'll be a little jumper. Sir, it says no parking here. But I think you are parking. I think you're parked. Good boy. Thank you for waiting. Thank you for waiting. I know I don't have a treat. I'm sorry. Look, boys, we made it home. Thirsty boys. Now, one concern is that they both are growing their winter coats. Like, it's not that hot out today, like mid-70s. But even just doing like a walking trail ride, they get sweaty. I mean, even though that was a very hard ride. Yes, it was. Do y'all want to get some baths now? Yeah? Oh, you like that.
Tristan, I made him think my thumb was a tree.
You can just let them go and put a rope over his back. Colin's just doing some dishes while we clean up. Trico is looking for her toy. Find it! There you go. Come on! Wrong way. Buddy. You want some hay? Move it. Back up. I'll get you some if you let me get up here. Now the boys are happy. They got their hay. Dinner is in a few hours. I'd say we probably went 4 or 5 miles, but it was just like uphill the whole way. And even when we came back down, I think this camp is up on a hill, so we had to go back up. Very tiring. But if you're looking for a way to support our channel, I would recommend checking out our YouTube membership. We post additional videos every week that you would have access to. And so that's something you get, and then in return, we get financially supported. So it enables us to do this trip, and we greatly appreciate all of our joiners, is what we call them. But even if you're not a joiner, we still appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching and supporting our journey. And if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more weekly horse videos.